going to talk about the anti-business billionaires from the My First Million podcast. We're also going to talk about happiness and the 3 pillars of happiness. And we're going to talk about the one pillar that I focused on because it caught my attention. But in this podcast, we talk about business. We also talk about the body. And I am very intrigued by both of those. So let's jump into it. So the My First Million podcast, the anti-business billionaires podcast, that says lessons from Steve Jobs, James Dyson, and Yvon Chouinard. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the one takeaway that I had from this podcast was actually Dyson's method of invention. And his method of invention, he called the Edisonian principle of design. Because essentially he would make something and iterate on it constantly. All right. A lot of times, and this resonates super, super well with me and the FlyFit app, because I think a lot of times we have these visions of this grand invention that we're like, oh, it's going to do this, it's going to be perfect, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, it's going to do everything that you want it to do. But essentially, that's not the case ever when you build something first. We all think that, when you go to a comedy show and you hear somebody doing a really, really good comedy bit, or even on Netflix, think about that. Like when you see the comedy show on Netflix, and I'm kind of going away from it, that person has probably done that bit 1,000 times, maybe more, and has perfected tried to perfect every single sentence, every single word that he or she says, because they know, the timing, the tone, the, pausing and all that stuff. And, we look at that and we're like, oh my God, they do it so seamlessly. They must just be funny. And so we don't realize that hours upon hours upon hours, 10,000 hours have gone into that person refining their craft and getting that perfect 1 hour bit down. 1 hour, I forgot what they call it. Anyways, but that's just like with anything else. So and I'll go back to the FlyFit app. We started with a very, very basic functional app, and we have consistently made the design and the features better and better every single week. And we've iterated almost every single week. We've started about 2 years ago at this point. 2 years ago around this time is when we started with the actual design phase of FlyFit. And then I want to say October, November is when we actually started using it for mileage challenge. So it's been about 1.5 years. And we've been on a battle rhythm of every week we come up with our priorities of our feature changes, and we try to make changes every single week that are going to have a positive impact and making the app better. And this goes to the Edisonian principle of design. He said he is not a big, hey, I have a master plan. He's just going in and he's doing experimenting, and he's getting feedback, and he's constantly making iterations. And so I think the biggest takeaway I have with most things now is that you have to spend so much time. Like you have to have something that works first. So then when you put it out into the world, you get feedback. All right. Hopefully it's good, and hopefully it's positive and negative feedback. Hopefully it's not all negative, but something that works, a product or service that you're doing. And then when you get that feedback, take it in and go, okay, what did they like? What did they not like? And what changes can we make to make this thing better? And don't be afraid if the thing is not freaking perfect. And I think that a lot of times we are afraid, like, hey, our product's not perfect, so we're not going to put it out there. Well, there are so many different things you can learn from just putting a product out there. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect every time that you put it out there, because you might lose customers that don't enjoy the product the first time. A lot of people have high expectations of what things are actually supposed to do. And so if you put something out there and people don't want to use you anymore, that's their prerogative, right? But you can also let them know that it is a testing, it's experimenting. You can say that this is something that we want to get feedback on and we want to make better for you. And if you put that message out there, usually people will be like, oh, thanks for telling me. Yeah, I'll definitely give you feedback. I want to help. I want to make this thing better, because if it's for me, I want to make it as good as I want to give you feedback so you can make it better for me. Anyways, I hope that was about it. And the other thing that he said was that investors and academics think about business way too academically. Okay. He said that he doesn't, in the books, the David Cerna, the person that runs or has this podcast, he says he doesn't see it in the books of like thinking about things very academically. He sees a bunch of small decisions every day being made and getting feedback and essentially changing the course slightly every single day, and then doing that over a long period of time. So 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, not just 3 months, 6 months, a year, because it's just not long enough. People are just so, we just forget how long the things actually take. And, you know, it's kind of fun. I actually spent some time with my fiance's grandfather this weekend, who had built a company for 50 years. And it's incredible, or it's like, it's crazy to think that he'd built a company for 50 years and just stayed in that company, and it's done very well, and it's taken time. And I'm sure it's, you know, something that didn't just happen overnight, but obviously, you know, something that he's been doing for 50 years. Anyways, so that's it. Iterate. Don't be afraid to put something out there and then get feedback and make changes. So that's the first thing. And I'm not going to say it. I want you to go watch that podcast because it's very fun. Then the next thing is, the title of the video is Love, Sex, and Happiness Explained by Philosophy by it's Johnny Thompson. And it is, I think it's The Big Think. It's either The Well or The Big Think. Can't remember. But there are 3 pillars to happiness, he says. It's happiness is not measured by pleasure. And then moderation, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place, and then virtue. Moderation really got me hooked on me. Moderation is the one that really stuck with me, because when I think of like what he said was, Aristotle says that happiness lies between 2 vices, the vice of excess and the vice of deficiency. And that really resonated with me, because I'm like, oh, when we have too much, we're, you know, happy for a second, but then we lose our happiness. And if we're starving ourselves, or if we're, you know, unhappy about something, or in a place of despair, we get really, really depressed. And so somewhere in the middle of those 2 things lies happiness, where you're you're always on the edge of like being happy, being sad, being happy, being sad. And so you're kind of in this state of like calm and just like relaxation. Honestly, it's like, it's you know, you don't always want to have too much stuff, and you don't always want to be, you know, completely broke and have nothing. And so that's honestly, and even in wellness, this is the one about the body, is it, I believe in wellness, it's about being in moderation, right? Not going too extreme and not being deficient in too many things, and staying in that moderate lifestyle is what can make you happy. It's not going to make you like happy like you're jumping out of an airplane and getting a rush, you know, to the maximum, and you're not starving to death, and you're not a prisoner of war. But when you get to come home to your family, to your wife, to your kids, or to your husband or significant other, and you get to spend time and you're just like living a normal life, it actually feels pretty good when you get to eat food, drink water, and just live, work out, sleep, get good sleep. All these things, you know, we tend to take for granted a lot of times, but moderation is really, really important when it comes to your health and wellness, because when you do things to the extreme, it has a pretty big effect. And, you know, extreme is a relative word. Some people's extreme may be doing a workout in a day. Other people's extreme is like, I need to do 3 workouts in a day, right? So moderation, right? I do believe that a lot of things in our life, people want us to overconsume or fast from something like all the time, completely give things up. As Americans, we are so extreme that we are either all in on one thing or all against a thing. And we either have something, this is all we do, or we never do it. And I think that mentality really puts us in a bad spot, because we really want to be in the middle. We really want to be in a spot where we're like, hey, we can do both of those. We can, you know, do a fast for 24 hours, or like have a 12-hour eating window every day. But we don't need to be eating all the time, and we don't need to be working out all the time. And I think if we have a more moderation view on just anything, like work hard during the week and then take the weekend to relax, go, you know, eat during the day, fast at night while you're sleeping. Don't stay up all night. Like when you're watching a show, and I'm kind of going into a little more, but you don't have to feel like you have to watch every show every night all the time. It's like, turn it off, go to bed. And it's about 9 p.m. here tonight, and I'm wrapping this up. And I look at those two videos, and I really liked them because one, the iteration aspect of the Edisonian principles, Edisonian principle of design, because a lot of times we want to make something perfect right off the bat, and it just takes forever. And I've actually listened to the book of Dyson's book, and it was really, really good. And you can go listen to it. And honestly, he basically just did an incredible job of always iterating. And I've said that before. I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking, but I just find it so cool that a lot of the people like Steve Jobs and Dyson and all these people are constantly just trying to make things better. And if you do that day in and day out over 365 days in a year, you will make that thing better. And we have brought FlyFit from just an app that is very bland and only shows a homepage and then a leaderboard to something that is very functional, very, very clean, very appealing to the eye. And it's taken a long time to do that. So that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Get after it. Have a good time. And that's our Bodies in Business podcast for the day.